Love you, Mummy. Hey ho, Chicken Guardians adventurers. So, I have to give up smoking. Now, unlike usual, normally people give up smoking because they want to. I have to because not medical. In fact, my doctors don't want me to do this journey because it's going to hurt. You see, I have bowel disease. And the bowel disease is going to probably be my demise. Not probably, it is going to be my demise. That's why I'm terminal. Eventually my bowels are going to stop working and I will slowly starve to death. But the reason why I'm stopping smoking is because the authority in my life, my social workers and the people who care for me, they don't smoke. And although I smoke outside, I'm very, very respectful. I've never smoked in front of my care workers ever. I've always smoked outside. I've kept the house clean. They always say they don't smell no cigarette smoke like someone doesn't smoke in the house. I always keep my clothes clean, stuff like that. However, I'm not in control of the money. They are. And they say sometimes they can't take Guardian and can't take me shopping or I'm too sick. So they're only allowed to get essentials. Now, here's the problem. They believe cigarettes ain't essential to someone who's been smoking since I was 6 years old. That's right, 6 years old. See, number one, when we were kids, there was no 16 and up. There was no warning labels. And number two, abusers used to love us kids smoking because it made it more adulty for them. So they got us to smoke with them, have a cigarette with them after the abuse. My brothers slowly come off theirs, and when we all got freed and escaped and rescued, my older brother stopped. I didn't. I couldn't. Because of my autism and everything, it was in a routine. And with the abuse and that also was in a routine. So you imagine, like, from the age of 0 to the age of 5, I was in one routine. My dad left. My mum met this guy. He targeted her. Being a vulnerable lady. And the rest is history. So from 6 years old, I've been smoking heavily. So then, fast forward it to 14, got put into a care home. Nobody cared whether we smoked or not. We could go and get cigarettes. We called them Lucy's. Where they used to be, when packets were damaged, they used to be open. You used to buy them for like 10 pence. You know, a couple of cents. for you guys in America. But I've got to the point where I'm sick of being controlled. Now, all my YouTube channels are going to be revamped. We have got a new manager. The manager is the Golden Wrench. The manager's going to be dealing with the money side and everything because I can't. But it all goes into Mr. Angels. Right? So, if you start seeing changes, I won't know because the manager's got control. I trust the manager. I trust the Golden Wrench 4 billion%. Okay, guys? But you might see things change for the best for Mr. Angels. The Golden Wrench is the one that's going to be doing a lot of stuff. Now, of course, it's my channel, so I do have the last say. But the Golden Wrench pretty much has free reign unless... so if you've got a problem, just email me, mrangels247@gmail.com. Tell me what the problem is. Put private just for Chip. I'll get it. I'll read it. Well, I won't read it, but my care workers will read it. Someone will read it for me, and then I'll act on it. Okay, guys? Okay. So, all intents and purposes, I'll be doing the content and everything like that. It is still my channels, but the manager, I need a manager. I need someone to take care of me online to make sure that I'm following the guidelines, make sure that Mr. Angels and YouTube, its money's being spent properly and rightly, and we're doing it correctly. Okay? So, the Golden Wrench is the new manager. Okay, of all the channels. So, now we've got that out of the way. Let's get back onto smoking. So, I couldn't go shopping. It was a Thursday. I ran out of cigarettes. Now, I do roll-ups. I roll my own. I've never smoked the proper cigarettes. And at the beginning I did, obviously, when I was 6, it was legal. But I then found rolling cigarettes better for me. So I decided to see... It's got... A lot of people say... A lot of experts say that stopping smoking is just as hard, not even harder, than stopping alcohol or drugs. And apparently a lot of drug addicts have said that it was easier for them to stop the drugs than it was to stop the smoking. But because smoking has always been in my life and in my routine since the age of 6, plus being autistic with learning difficulties, my whole... Yes, Guardian, you're going to help. My whole persona and everything is cigarettes. Like, I get up in the morning, go out, have a cigarette, make a cup of tea, sit down, have my tea, get out, have another cigarette, take Guardian for a walk. Now, I never ever smoke when I take Guardian for a walk. I don't know why. I don't know. Or when I go to the shops, I never take my cigarettes with me. Sweet. But, hey-ho. But they've always been a part of my life. So I've watched a few like how to stop, what are the symptoms, what are the stuff like that. I got very scared because a lot of it has to do with stomach upsets. And if you're not aware, bowel disease is all stomach upset, cramping, pains in the stomach, vomiting. And this is why the doctors, my specialists, are saying, don't you dare do this. But I've got no choice. You see, they say it's not essential, so therefore they won't buy me it. So every time I'm going to be sick or can't go with them, I'm going to go through it. I'm going to go through all the withdrawals, the pains and everything until I can get some cigarettes. Or do it in just one fell swoop, get it out the way, so then they haven't got that hold over me. Now, a lot of people say, well, it's to the best. Well, it's not. Because like I said, before the cigarettes will do me any harm, my bowel disease will take me first. So anyway, I went and had my lungs tested. And they said, are you sure you smoke? And I said, I've been smoking since I was 6. So the good thing is, my body has managed to maintain a good lung capacity because I play football. For many years, I played football for England's over 21s and under 21s. I played Hackney women's team, Arsenal. So I did a lot of running. And I also did a lot of kickboxing. And so I was very, very active. Still am. Go for a walk every day. Take Guardian out, go on adventures. I've always been like that. In fact, because of my ADHD, I hardly sit still. There's always something I need to do. I get agitated otherwise. So we've got that in play. So I was watching about people stopping smoking. Most of the people were taking medicines that make them feel sick. Like, they'd have a packet of cigarettes. They'd take this tablet form of some sort and then smoke, and eventually the tablet will make you sick and not want you to. Now it does work because food makes me sick, and I pass out when I'm forcing my body to eat food. I get poorly, pass out, I get burnt, stuff like that. So what do we do? Well, you have so many things to help. So if you do, why is it so hard to quit? Is what I'm thinking. It doesn't make sense to me. If you've got like e-cigarettes, you've got Nicorettes, you've got nicotine patches, you've got nicotine gum, you've got all that. Why would it be so hard to quit? Because you see, here's the thing that I don't understand. It's the nicotine you're addicted to, not the chemicals, according to some specialists. Comment down below if you know this or not. But what I've learned watching is the fact that it's two things. It's the nicotine withdrawal, but nicotine doesn't do no harm to your body, is what I'm figuring out by looking online. But all the toxins do. So when you go withdrawal, you're not just going to withdrawal from the nicotine, but you're actually going to go through withdrawal, your body getting rid of the toxins. So I thought, Then what made me laugh was this woman won't let her family have the big C injections because she doesn't want to put poison in her body, but yet she smokes. And a lot. It's... I was sitting there thinking, one of the YouTubers in true crime won't... she tries to do everything herbally, painkillers, stuff like that. But she won't have any injections or anything like that. However, she smokes. It's so hypocritical, it's hysterical. She sits there puffing away on probably the most dangerous thing on the earth that you're putting in your body. The most poisonous thing. And you're worried about a jab? It astounds me how human beings work in the brain. How they can actually justify that as well. They can say, oh, them injections have got this toxin and that toxin, but you're putting in more toxins than your whole life of injections. Anyway, that I was just thinking it was funny. I come across that the other day. So I decided, how about Chip and Guardian goes on an adventure of stopping smoking? And I was wondering, do you guys want to come on this journey with me? Now, I don't mean stop smoking yourselves. You can if you want. I mean, I'm always glad of the family. The more the better to help me. But have you ever tried to stop and you've struggled? So here's my first tip. My first tip is don't throw your cigarettes away. Don't smoke your full pack of cigarettes and binge it and say, right, that's my last one now, no more. Don't use the words give up or quit. Don't use them words. Right? Now, what I want you to do is I want you to see this whole experience of stopping smoking as like feeding an animal in your brain, a pet. Now, you've got the cigarettes, you've got the nicotine, that's the addiction, that's the animals in your head that need feeding. But your body doesn't need the toxins. So therefore, that's what we've got to do. So the first thing we've got to do is think about how do we feed the nicotine? How do we help so our body can fight off all the toxins we've been poisoning ourselves with for how many years we've been smoking? But how do at the same time we don't punish our bodies or make our bodies feel like it's a punishment by not picking up a cigarette and lighting all them toxins? So the first thing we've got to think about is our nicotine pet. So we've got these little nicotine pets, and what we have to do to get rid of them is feed them. You know how normally if you see a stray in the street, you feed it and it comes back and comes back? Well, this is the opposite. We're going to see it as the opposite. And what we're going to do is, each time we feed the nicotine that's in our heads, we're going to imagine them smiling and disappearing because we've satisfied them. So first our head is going to be full of these nicotine fairy creatures. All of them. The only way to set them free and make them survive is to feed them. So now our problem is, how do we feed them? You see, is there another way of getting nicotine into the body that isn't as dangerous? Is there a way to get the nicotine into the body to feed our little ones so our little ones can be free? And thus us be free. Because once we free them, bit by bit, it'll clear the space. It'll clear all the space in our brain and it'll make us feel better. So imagine it. You've got all of them waiting in there for the nicotine. How do we feed the nicotine? Well, we can start looking at it this way. We can either get nicotine through a vape, nicotine through a patch, nicotine through our mouths. So, how do we normally get nicotine? We normally burn a load of toxins and get nicotine in. And normally it only lasts 10 minutes. So we need something that's not going to make us get to that point where we're going to be like, I need one, right? Where as soon as they're hungry, they're fed. It's right there. There's no need for it. So you know how you're working and you have to get up, go out, have a cigarette, and your boss comes in and says, can you just do that before you go on your break? And you're sitting there and it's burning and burning, your stomach's cramping because you really need to go out for a cigarette and you get agitated. That's where we've got to stop it. Because at the minute, our bodies are going to go through hell, kicking all that toxins out of us. So we've got to give it a break, help it. So how do we feed the nicotine pets in our head? To set them free, to make them go to heaven, to disappear, so they no longer need to be with us. Because the poor things have been stuck with us since we've been smoking, right? Now we need to free them. So I thought to myself, we've got loads. So pick one. Pick two. Now, a lot of people say, you've got to throw everything out. You've got to clean your house out. You've got to clear an ashtray out. You've got to do this. You've got to do that. Don't. Don't do it. That's a big mistake. And I'll explain why. You're going out into the world every day. You're going to go into a shop every day. You're going to walk past someone who's lighting up, has light up, or is lit up and having a smoke. So if you all of a sudden avoid it, then what'll happen is your receptors will sit there and go, oh, I haven't got a cigarette. It's not coming. And it'll lie dormant. It's not what we want. We want to be able to feed them, release them into their world, and let us free. So then when someone does come past us and lights up all that, it doesn't bother us. When we're watching them on TV, it doesn't want us, make us crave us to have a smoke. Another thing, most people get up in the morning, have a coffee, have a smoke. But it's not the smoking, it's the nicotine, because 8 hours before or 9 hours before, how long ever you've been asleep, there was no nicotine in your body. And it pretty much goes out after your body after 3 minutes, right? After 10 minutes, you need it again. So imagine 8 to 9 hours or 7 hours or 5 hours you've had no cigarette, no nicotine. It's not the cigarette, it's the nicotine. Remember that. Separate it. Poison, nicotine. Addiction, bleh. Right? So from there to there. So then I said to myself, okay, let's try the gum. But how do we do it? You see, if you have coffee or tea and you start chewing the gum, well, unfortunately, it won't work. Guardian's just eaten. You're going to hear him and he's going to run in with his toy in a minute. And then I've got to burp him. You'll see him come in, I'll burp him in a minute. So what do? You want a cigarette with your cup of coffee or tea. Most people coffee. And the chewing gum won't exactly work. And the patch won't work because it's not the nicotine you want. It's the actual ritual of the smoke. So I got a vape. You can either get a vape like this, right? A cheapish one. Nothing too bad. You have cartridge. It has minimum oil in it. And you just throw the cartridge away. And I use this vape when I need the cigarette. So, not when I need the nicotine hit. That's different. That's where we've got to separate it, okay, guys? So, use this for when you're having your coffee. Use this when you're going out for a break with your friends. Just for that, okay? Wake up in the morning. And as you wake up in the morning, these are what you're going to need. These are nicotine, Nicorette chewing gum, nicotine chewing gum, right? What I want you to do is, as soon as you wake up in the morning, before you do anything, I want you to brush your teeth. It's important. Because what happens is, once you brush your teeth and that, you've desensitized like all the film around your mouth, and you've made all your mouth tingle and fresh. Now, don't forget, you can get mint flavours or you can get strawberry flavour or whatever. Get whatever flavour you like. This is mint. So after brushing my teeth, I then go and put the kettle on. Now, most people that use coffee use percolators or whatever. What I want you to do is, before you do, I want you to sit down, take a deep breath, and I want you to say, okay, babies, knicker babies, I'm going to feed you your breakfast. But I don't want you to chew it. You're going to say, huh? I don't want you to chew it. What I want you to do is stick it into your mouth and hold it there. Now, can you feel your tongue starting to tingle? You see, you can do a lozenge if you want, but a chewing gum has got the nicotine on it. Now, I've found if I chew it, it burns my mouth, but I'm already losing the nicotine. But if I just put it there for a minute, and I sit down, and now I close my eyes, and now I see, I know, darling, now I see the nicotine babies all in there. And I start to taste, and the reason why I do it after brushing my teeth in the morning is because I've got that strong mint and the mouthwash still in there taste, which then intensifies this taste. Now, don't forget, when we start to stop smoking, the toxins are no longer in our mouths and our tongues, so our taste buds and our senses are starting to heal. And as you do this twice a day, every day when you brush your teeth, this is just for the morning, remember? So now you've got it in, I want you to take a minute and just feel the nicotine going in. Now you're feeding your nicotine. I want you to take a nice deep breath and just relax and say, nicotine fed. Right? Now I want you to chew it for 3. Plant it on the other side and leave it there. Now you're going to have this tingling going on the side you had it. And that's them praising you. That's them saying, thank you so much. You've given me a thank you. And it's a kind of satisfaction that you're satisfied and fed the babies, right? And in fact, one of them's already gone. They're happy and they've left home. Good. Now you've just made your coffee, right? Don't drink your coffee with your gum, right? Then once that's done, once that's done, then what I want you to do is go and sit down to have your coffee. It doesn't matter about the hustle and bustle of the day, don't matter. When you sit down, wherever you sit to smoke and drink your coffee, keep your routine. There's a reason I'm telling you this. Now, you're going to hear a lot of people tell you not to keep your routine, to get rid of all your cigarettes and that. I'll explain why you shouldn't do that in a moment. So then you've got your vape. Now remember, you've already fed the nicotine, so you don't necessarily need the nicotine in the vape. You can have it if you want it. You can have a low dose or you can have 18 mils, don't matter. But you've already had the biggest hit from the gum or the lozenge, right? So then you sit, have your coffee, and what I want you to do is use it like a cigarette. Now you see how these are built like this to do this, right? No, use it as a cigarette. There's a reason. See, as you smoke, you bring you bring your mouth up, you actually touch. So your body is so used to that touch that it'll be like, you know when a baby has a dummy? If you do a newborn baby and you just touch the dummy on, it'll be like that to try and get to it because it's sensitive. So you want that comfort, you want that feel. And I want you to take your time and see it come out, right? So I want you to see it go like that. Satisfying. So now that's fed. So you've had your first morning coffee, still exactly the same as always. You've had your cigarette without the toxins, and you've fed your nicotine. Pretty good morning already all round. Now comes your day. Get in the bath, have a bath, get out. Now you've just had a bath or a shower. Now I don't know what it is, but every time we have a bath or a shower, we always want a cigarette after it. It's weird. So you just take your vape and you go and smoke like you would once you've had your bath or your shower. If you sit indoors and smoke, it's fine. Use your vape. So whenever you get that craving to do that, don't use food, don't use sucking sweets or anything like that because you want to get healthy, not unhealthy. Use the vape. And just... Now what I want you to do is either your roll-up or your cigarette, I want you to put it by your vape. Yes, I know, shocking. And I'll explain. I also want you to put your cigarettes that you can see them safely out of dogs, animals' reach or children's reach, obviously. But so you can see them. So I suggest next to your vape, next to wherever it's safe to do so in your family, in your environment. And what I want you to do is, before you go for the chewing gum, have a cigarette right there with it. And before you go for the vape, have a cigarette there right with it. And it's a simple reason. It becomes then your choice. You see, you deny something good to your body, like a chocolate cake or something like that. It doesn't matter how much you say to your brain, chocolate cake is not good for me. Chocolate is not good for me. It's not what your brain gets. You see, your brain gets comfortable, euphoric. You feel good. You feel calm. So you and your words cannot convince your brain when the chemicals in your brain is convinced that chocolate's good for you because it's doing all the right things. It's pressing all the right buttons, right? Same as smoking. You hear it every day. It's bad for you. It's got loads of toxins and stuff like this and that. But yet it's satisfying, relaxing and calming. And we mostly use it also to calm us down from anxiety attacks, panic attacks and stuff like that. But it actually isn't the chemicals doing that. It's actually making it worse. What's doing that is us having to stop. Take a deep breath in. So we're just actually doing the breath technique of in for 4, out for 4. See? Same thing. And it's that that's actually calming us down, not the cigarette. Food for thought there, right? So in the second part, I tell you how the first week went. See you in a while.